Describe Mitch Barnhart in one word.
Integrity.
Leadership.
Humility.
Commitment.
Respect.
Integrity.
Caring.
Passionate.
Authentic.
Genuine.
Kind of tell me about like your first interactions with him and how your relationship started.
Well, I was looking for an athletic director, and I hired a firm in Atlanta to help us. Got a group of names, and I personally interviewed, I think, 7 ADs around the country. And what initially impressed me about Mitch was that he had a master's degree in athletic administration from Ohio University, and it's the most memorable interview I ever had. He walked in with a manila folder with nothing in it, but in small letters had written down what he would do if he got the job. And he went through facts that I had no idea about. Only football and basketball had video equipment. We had part-time golf coaches. It just was what I was feeling about our athletic department. And one of the goals I had set that I told each of them is that I want the whole place to be competitive. By the time he left, I knew I had who I wanted. And he owes me a copy of that manila folder.
What I've grown to appreciate is what was not here when Mitch and Dr. Todd got started and what they built.
So we actually, freshman year, had to travel all the way out to EKU and use their runway and drive back to be able to get that type of, setup for actual meet situations. So to have our own track, for it to be as phenomenal as it is, that shows the dedication that the program has to our track team. And I think that's phenomenal because it's only going to bring in better athletes and continue to push our program forward.
And the facilities are so important in recruiting and competing, and so I'm extremely proud of how he's done what he's done.
And what's great about those facilities now, you'll see those female soccer players lined up right outside the fence. That next generation of 11 or 12-year-old kids waiting to get an autograph of a poster. And you realize, what it means for women's sports, for instance.
But Tubby Smith once told me, he said, Dr. Todd, the swim team coach has as much passion for their sport as I have for basketball, but we don't treat them that way. And so we were going to change that.
You look and see where Kentucky is today from where it was when he took over and 13 years ago, 14 years ago now, and the strides they've made across the board.
Flipping on the television set and seeing Kentucky women's softball at the College World Series, or seeing the Kentucky women's track and field team all over the place at the national championships finishing second. It gets down to one word, and that's opportunity. Opportunity for young people to pursue the things that they're really, really good at.
It took time, sweat, tears, courage, commitment, and it shows today.
The athletic director, a lot of times, is the first person to kind of get the blame and to kind of get the flack. It's kind of like the same thing as with us as quarterbacks, so we cannot possibly give him too much praise. I think he's done a wonderful job in all sports.
What do you most admire about him?
I admire his character. I admire something fundamental. At the end of the day, Mitch really loves everybody.
One thing that I think is a true credit to Mitch is that there are several Division I athletic directors around the country now who started here under Mitch.
Well, Mitch taught me a lot of lessons. I had the great fortune of working for him for 8 years, and he's been a wonderful mentor not only in those 8 years but beyond. So I've learned a lot of life lessons, a lot of professional lessons.
I admire his humility. Mitch is the first person to give credit to everybody else, even though he's the person behind the scenes doing all the hard work.
Mitch is truly passionate about intercollegiate athletics, the student-athlete experience. He cares deeply about each and every student-athlete at the University of Kentucky.
You walk across campus with Mitch and you pass a student-athlete in any sport, he's going to know their name, he's going to know what their major is, he's probably going to know what their test schedule was that week and ask them how they did on it. He just has an amazing connection with the students.
He not only knew about them and their successes, their challenges, but he knew their families by their names.
The one thing that stands out the most to me about Mr. Barnhart is when he came to one of our matches for the first time, and he was just like, "Hey Kirsten, how are you doing?" He asked how my mom was because he had met my mom like previously, like in the stands or whatever.
I've almost got to know him more now after college than I did then. So it's not, he really keeps in contact and keeps up with his athletes, not just when they're here, but when they leave.
He's really adamant about, talking to us and really like seeing how we are. I mean, he's on the sidelines at every game.
I love our kids, and if they're proud to wear Kentucky on their uniform, I want to be there with them to be a part of that.
Is there anything else about Mr. Barnhart that you would like people to know that the John Q public just has no idea?
Yeah. Well, I wish that all the fans could be in a visitor's booth at Georgia or Alabama for a football game with him and see how passionate he is.
We all want to win. Mitch's competitiveness probably is at a different level than most people.
Frankly, I love competing. I like being in the middle of it.
He can call out individual players who don't do the right thing on the field very quickly. And his worst word he ever said, I think, in my presence was Jiminy Christmas.
He truly believes in the NCAA model, and he brings that passion to work every single day.
I want to compete for grade point average as much as I want to compete for the championship on the basketball floor, the football field, or the track championship. I like competing.
And when you do that, you build a culture that says excellence in the classroom matters.
Tennis now for me is like something, I'll be done with it once I'm a senior, but I think that the academic work I put into during those 4 years will help me in the next step in my life.
Being able to graduate in December is awesome. It's awesome for my family. And he's just put a big emphasis on that, hey, athletics are wonderful. And if they can, they got you here and they got you a chance to get a wonderful education. And it's our responsibility to take advantage of that.
I think the fact that he emphasizes on student before athlete is very important.
We set our athletes on such a pedestal that they could easily be in that dorm over there just thinking about themselves. And he doesn't allow that.
It's an honor and a privilege for us to represent Kentucky. It's an honor and a privilege for us to play the sports that we play. It's an honor and a privilege for us to do what we do. If we've been given that, it is incumbent upon us to return that to others.
I'm very fortunate here that he emphasizes community service and that kind of thing, just because the whole experience can change your outlook. For example, I went to Ethiopia and I was there for 9 days, and I came back with a completely different mindset, completely different focus.
Once you make one of those trips, you'll be forever changed. And there's not one young person that has come back from that trip that wasn't impacted in one way, shape, or form.
Without that opportunity, I would have never known that side about me and what I actually wanted to do. I think community service is so important for growing you during your time here.
What do you think of him as kind of a leader of UK athletics?
I think he's obviously done a really good job. I mean, you look at where our programs have gone. When you first come into something new, you can either meet where we're at halfway, or you can set a standard and not take anything less. And he's definitely set that standard for excellence and expected us to meet that standard. And when we have met the standard, he's raising the bar, which I think is the only logical thing to do. And I have no doubt that we would not be where we're at with Coach Stoops and with Coach Cal and everybody without him.
You look and see where Kentucky is today from where it was and the strides they've made across the board.
I can't tell you how thrilled I was when Mitch was selected the AD of the year.
From their coaches to their academic advisors to his entire staff, I know that they were excited and thought it was the most deserving award.
Most of all, it's a product of coaches, some really, really good coaches, some wonderful students, and a really, really great staff. To aspire to be elite and to do the things that we want to do, it takes a unique group of people, and I've got a great group of people working with me.
When I think of Mitch, I just think about the kind of person he is. And I've said before, I've hired a lot of people in my companies at the university, but I think I can be safe in saying I admire him the most. It's just because he took so much grief when he took on this job, and it never took away from his focus and his family's focus on doing what needed to be done here. And now he's beginning to see the rewards for that.
And I think it just goes to show you all the hard work that he's put into the program.
I'm so glad that I'm here, and I'm glad that he's our ID, and I'm super happy with the direction he's taking our program.
He's in all facets, whether it's athletics or academics. He's done everything he possibly can to put us in a position to win on and off the field.
He takes care of everyone here at the University of Kentucky, and I think we're just very lucky to have him.